Welcome to the battlefield of brains, where strategy meets chaos and every move burns with intensity. Watch grandmasters clash, pieces fall, and legends rise. Eduardas Rozentalis opens with e4, thrusting his central pawn forward like a spear, claiming space and igniting the battlefield tension. Wesley So replies e6, raising the French defense shield with calm precision, preparing a resilient counterattack against White's ambitious central expansion. Eduardas Rozentalis pushes d4, reinforcing his strong center and challenging Wesley to confront immediate structural tension in the heart of the board. Wesley So responds d5, striking directly at White's center, forcing confrontation and setting the stage for an explosive pawn clash ahead. Eduardas Rozentalis develops knight to d2, choosing a flexible path that reinforces e4 while preparing tactical ideas aimed at destabilizing Black's structure. Wesley So calmly places bishop on e7, completing development and quietly preparing kingside safety, while watching White's center with patient intent. Eduardas Rozentalis supports his center with c3, constructing a solid foundation and preparing future expansions as battle lines begin to harden. Wesley So fires c5, launching an immediate frontal assault on White's center, challenging the pawn chain and demanding precise calculation from Rozentalis. Eduardas Rozentalis captures dxf5, snatching material and opening the position, hoping to exploit activity as lines begin to peel open violently. Wesley So develops knight f6, attacking key central squares and preparing to recapture, while sharpening pressure against White's stretched formation. Eduardas Rozentalis answers x5, removing the central tension and shaping a clarified battleground where piece activity becomes the primary weapon. Wesley So leaps knight to d5, reclaiming space with authority and centralizing power, immediately challenging White's coordination and structural integrity. Eduardas Rozentalis places knight on e4, entering the fray with aggression, eyeing powerful outposts and preparing tactical ideas against Black's defenses. Wesley So castles kingside, securing his monarch and signaling readiness to unleash rooks and heavy pieces into the expanding central conflict. Eduardas Rozentalis develops knight to f3, strengthening central control and preparing for kingside expansion as the tension rises across the board. Wesley So positions queen on 7, combining pressure with his minor pieces and subtly hinting at tactical strikes along weakened diagonals. Eduardas Rozentalis places bishop on c4, eyeing the vulnerable f7 point with aggressive intent and escalating threats against Wesley's kingside shield. Wesley So counters with b6, challenging the bishop's influence and preparing queenside development as he reinforces structural resilience. Eduardas Rozentalis castles kingside, bringing his king to safety and mobilizing his rooks for the upcoming central and kingside clashes. Wesley So activates rook to date, occupying the critical central file and aligning his forces for concrete operations against White's central presence. Eduardas Rozentalis plays queen to e2, connecting his rooks and preparing tactical ideas on the kingside, while reinforcing vital central squares. Wesley So recaptures bxx5, restoring material balance and opening dynamic lines that promise sharp play and immediate counterattacking chances. Eduardas Rozentalis jumps bishop to g5, pinning the defensive knight and provoking weaknesses as he intensifies pressure on black's kingside. Wesley So captures bxm5, eliminating the annoying pin and reducing tactical pressure while maintaining structural solidity and active piece play. Eduardas Rozentalis replies next g5, leaping forward aggressively and threatening disruptions around Wesley's king. Injecting chaos into the position, he killed Wardis here to stable. Wesley So pushes h6, driving the intruding knight back and testing white's intentions as he attempts to regain coordination amid complications. Eduardas Rozentalis reroute knight to e4, retreating with purpose while maintaining strong central presence and preparing new tactical themes. Wesley So repositions knight to d7, reinforcing key squares and preparing flexible maneuvers that support both defense and looming counterattacks. Eduardas Rozentalis brings rook to d2, contesting the open file and signaling readiness to escalate central tensions with well-coordinated pressure. Wesley So develops bishop to b7, activating the long diagonal and aiming directly at white's center with deep strategic counterplay potential. Eduardas Rozentalis doubles rooks with Arfione, strengthening control over the e-file and preparing for breakthroughs against black's compact formation. Wesley So maneuvers knight from d7 to b6, pressuring c4 and eyeing powerful outposts that could destabilize white's ambitious piece placement. Eduardas Rozentalis retreats bishop to b3, maintaining diagonal influence while dodging threats, keeping tension alive with quiet but sharp purpose. Wesley So expands with a5, zitzing queenside space and preparing aggressive pawn advances aimed at squeezing white's minor pieces relentlessly. Eduardas Rozentalis responds a3, consolidating queenside structure, preventing infiltration, and preparing for future counterplay as the battlefield widens. Wesley So shifts bishop to s6, targeting central pressure while coordinating with his heavy pieces, intensifying threats across multiple strategic fronts. Eduardas Rozentalis advances c4, striking hard in the center, challenging black's knight and opening volatile lines where tactics flare instantly. Wesley So jumps knight to 4, invading aggressively into white's territory and creating immediate dangers around the vulnerable kingside defenses. Eduardas Rozentalis plays qc2a, regrouping his queen to a safer post while eyeing tactical chances against Wesley's increasingly active minor pieces. Wesley So develops bishop to b7, unleashing long-range pressure down the diagonal and tightening control over central squares with cold, calculated purpose. Eduardas Rozentalis lifts queen to qc3, reinforcing central influence and probing for weaknesses as the position grows sharper and more combustible. Wesley So strikes with f5, a bold thrust that challenges white's structure, opening lines and injecting fresh attacking energy into the battlefield. Eduardas Rozentalis jumps knight to g3, repositioning it aggressively toward kingside operations while shielding critical squares from Wesley's advancing forces. Wesley So advances a4, seizing more space on the queen side and creating long-term pressure that threatens to clamp down on white's mobility. Eduardas Rozentalis retreats bishop to c2, 2. Preserving its diagonal power and maintaining tactical resources as tension swells on both fronts. Wesley So positions, queen on c6, centralizing his most powerful piece and aiming deadly threats toward both the king and queenside files. Eduardas Rozentalis pushes h4, grabbing space on the king side and preparing disruptive pawn storms to challenge Wesley's tightening grip. Wesley So brings rook to d4, invading forcefully and seizing a powerful outpost that slices into white's camp with daunting pressure. Eduardas Rozentalis captures a rook x8-4, piliin, in 9, eliminating the intruding rook and momentarily relieving pressure while opening new tactical lines across the center. Wesley So responds cx4, restoring material and creating a dangerous passed pawn that begins marching ominously toward deeper complications. Eduardas Rozentalis snaps qxd4, removing the advanced pawn and centralizing the queen, trying desperately to reorganize against Wesley's momentum. Wesley So counters with qxc4, grabbing material and tightening the noose, unleashing threats that ripple across white's weak and dark squares. Eduardas Rozentalis captures qxb6, striking back with resourcefulness, hoping counterplay and open lines can stave off Wesley's growing initiative. Wesley So plays bxf3, eliminating a key defender and ripping open white's kingside structure, escalating the position's tactical volatility. Eduardas Rozentalis answers bsf5, counterattacking fiercely and removing a central pawn, trying to disrupt Wesley's coordination before danger escalates further. Wesley So recaptures x5, strengthening central control and opening new attacking lanes as his pieces swarm toward white's vulnerable king. Eduardas Rozentalis advances gxf3, shoring up his structure while opening lines for rook activation as pressure mounts relentlessly. Wesley So activates rook to fight, preparing direct kingside threats and coordinating a brutal assault aimed squarely at Eduardas's exposed monarch. Eduardas Rozentalis pushes h5, attempting counterspace and trying to interfere with Wesley's attack, though the danger continues spiraling upward. Wesley So delivers nh3 kill, a sharp knight leap, cracking open white's defenses and forcing immediate king movement under intense fire. Eduardas Rozentalis escapes with kg2-0, scrambling his king away from checks while bracing for Wesley's rapidly accelerating assault. Wesley So replies nf4, another precise knight strike that drags the king further into danger and tightens the tactical stranglehold. Eduardas Rozentalis shifts king to kagun, trying to slip towards safety, though Wesley's pieces continue circling like predators. Wesley So repeats nh3 xia, keeping the initiative alive and probing for weaknesses as he perfects the geometry of his attack. Eduardas Rozentalis moves kg2 again, forced into repetition while searching desperately for a defensive resource against Wesley's tightening net. Wesley So lashes out with qh4, bringing his queen into the kill zone and threatening devastating combinations around White's fragile king. Eduardas Rozentalis blocks with q6. Fearing a crucial check to stall the attack and momentarily slow Wesley's advancing momentum. Wesley So calmly plays k7, sidestepping danger while maintaining every threat, preparing to unleash a decisive tactical breakthrough. Eduardas Rozentalis checks with qg16, throwing everything forward in a last effort to disturb Wesley's coordination and regain counterplay. Wesley So answers kite, but shows when pin, coldly stepping aside again, refusing to relinquish control and allowing his impending attack to grow heavier. Eduardas Rozentalis shifts q6, repositioning the queen to target weaknesses and defend his king as pressure builds from all sides. Wesley So brings rook to date k9, reinforcing central dominance and preparing the final assault with flawlessly coordinated heavy pieces. Eduardas Rozentalis retreats queen to k6, trying to generate long-range threats while desperately seeking counterchances against Wesley's iron grip. Wesley So strikes with n4, launching yet another forcing knight blow that drags White's king deeper into a collapsing defensive maze. Eduardas Rozentalis steps kagone, clinging to survival while Wesley marshals overwhelming forces for the final push. Wesley So repeats nh3k, keeping relentless pressure and ensuring White remains tied to defensive duties with no respite available. Eduardas Rozentalis moves kgt2o, once again forced into passive defense as Wesley tightens every screw around the embattled king. Wesley So replies n4, continuing the merciless checking sequence and ensuring White's king remains fully exposed to incoming threats. Eduardas Rozentalis drifts kagone, running out of squares as Wesley's coordinated pieces close in for the inevitable finish. Wesley So plays k7, calmly repositioning his king and preparing to deliver the final tactical blow with clinical efficiency. Eduardas Rozentalis plays qf1, attempting to reinforce his final defensive layer and block critical checking routes from Wesley's attack. Wesley So fires nh3 forcing further king movement and maintaining overwhelming initiative as every piece converges on White's collapsing fortress. Eduardas Rozentalis answers kgt2o, trapped in a cycle of survival as Wesley's army advances with unstoppable precision. Wesley So delivers nf4, another forcing move that keeps White's king under constant fire, denying any hope of counterplay. Eduardas Rozentalis moves kagone, cornered and helpless as Wesley sharpens his final decisive strike. Wesley So finishes with rd2, landing his rook deep into enemy territory and sealing the game as White's position collapses completely. I'll end the video here. Please give me a like and subscribe to my channel. I'll keep finding the best and newest videos to share with you. Thank you so much. And I wish you all happiness and good health.